Hello, everyone. Have you been enjoying our series? If you have, say yes. So, we've talked about three biblical women who were in the lineage of Christ. We do have two more, Ruth and Mary, the mother of Jesus. But I'm not going to talk about them because the month of March is coming to an end. And I don't want to miss talking about the little servant girl mentioned in 2 Kings chapter 5. But if you really want to hear about Ruth and Mary, you can let me know and I may come back in April and do it. But I think that we're pretty much familiar with the stories of Ruth and Mary. Obviously, the mother of Jesus. So the little servant girl, her story is found in 2 Kings chapter 5. She was taken as a slave from Israel to Syria. She was a young girl. She was so insignificant, it seemed, that her name was not even mentioned in the Bible. But what she did was impactful and will be spoken of throughout generations. She was only a little girl. So she lived in the house of Naaman. Naaman was the captain of the Syrian army and he had leprosy. He had gone to many doctors and he was not healed. And then one day, this little girl said to her mistress, Naaman's wife, she said, there's a prophet in Israel that if my master would go to the prophet, he will be healed. And I'm thinking, first of all, the hierarchy for this servant girl to be able to say that to the mistress said a lot. But here's the kicker. For the captain of the Syrian army to go from Syria to Israel at the suggestion of a little girl who was not only a little girl, but a slave. I'm thinking, who does that? So you leave the United States and you go all the way to, maybe Egypt or China or Singapore or somewhere because a little girl said something. So I'm wondering, what kind of life must the little girl have lived in that home? I'm thinking this girl must have shown a lot of integrity for them to even listen to her, for them to take her seriously. She must have made an impact even in that household. But think about it. She was a slave from Israel. So which means she wasn't with her parents. She wasn't with her church. She didn't have the benefit of her friends. She was alone. But whatever had been deposited in her by her parents was what she was using thousands of miles away in a strange land where she didn't have the opportunity of going to church every week, hearing the word of God every week. She was just there as a slave in the home of unbelievers. But she remembered what she had been taught and she lived it out to the extent that the whole man of the house, the whole captain of the whole army of a nation will carry himself and all his servants at the suggestion of a little girl. So young people, I want you to know that you are very impactful. Don't consider yourself young. If you have something to bring to the table, if you have faith, if you have integrity, just like this little girl, if you are trustworthy, if people can depend on you, even as young as you are, you'll be surprised that adults will listen to you. Adults will take you seriously because they know the quality and all that you bring to the table. So don't ever be afraid to show up. Don't ever be afraid to speak the truth. Don't ever be afraid to put in a word when you know that it is true and when you know what you believe. Such a blessing. But we all can learn from this. So that's the end of our series this month. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for staying with us. Bye-bye.